You're now tuned into Thorough Black Talk with Tad, Keisha, and Ashe. Every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m.
Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe SJ. Brother Blacksmith will be joining us shortly. We are glad to be with you again this week. Glad to be on this earth another day. We have some special guests coming in later on this evening for you all so that we can delve into this issue with Black love and Black family and Black male female relationships and the problems that we are having today. Brother Tad is on the check in. How you feeling, Brother Tad? I see we got our in sync colors on tonight.
That's right. That's right. But I'm feeling good, sis. I'm feeling good. Life is good, unless the judge give it to you. I'm excited about tonight's guest, I can't believe a week done shot by already and we already back, which is a blessing. It feels good. It feels good. Yeah.
Yes,
But I had a
definitely. Glad you had a good one. And shout out to the family. We just left. I just left a repast for my uncle. I had to rush home. Good thing it was not too far from the house. So I had to rush home and get a quick shower and put on a t-shirt or something and get ready for tonight. So again, to the family that's watching, I know that some of them are watching tonight. I love you all. Aunt Pauline, I will see you again tomorrow, early tomorrow afternoon at that, because Aunt Pauline is the elder in the family right now, and she has all of the documentation for our family. And so last week I was there at the house, and first I got reamed because it took me too long to get over there, so I had to take that tongue lashing. But anyway, but anyway, she was able to give me documents proving the birth of my great great grandfather, because before the 1900s, when birth certificates were issued, you had what was called a letter of birth. So whoever gave birth to you, they would sign a document dated and have it notarized. And so I was able to get those documents. So I'm excited about that. Um, I also have my great great grandparents' marriage certificate. Did you know that Black people had to get permission in the South in the beginning of the 1900s? In certain towns, still had to get permission. And
yeah.
so I have that documentation as well. And so, it's an honor when the elders in the family can give you the family history, not only give you the family history, but entrust family legacy to you. And so for that, I am humbled. And I can't wait to get back over there tomorrow because she got stacks of stuff that I have to go through. And in fact, some of the papers, Brother Tad, was so old. They're going back to the 1800s, mind you. So when my cousin, we're going through the albums and getting stuff together, and we came across certain documents, and I was telling my cousin, no, don't touch it. Don't touch it. We don't want the paper to crack or anything like that. So we had to be very
Right.
careful with those documents and stuff like that. So, and again, I can't wait to get back over there tomorrow to get some more. So again, salute to the family. And my Uncle Buddy was a giant, for real, a man among men. He was the uncle actually who married into our family. So all of the uncles, were under his tutelage. Trust and believe that. Like I said, when I married my husband, they was like, all right, come to the back. You want to marry my niece? All right. You stay here and you go back there. All I know, it was the dead of winter in Brooklyn, New York, ice on the ground, but my husband came out that room sweating. And let me make that perfectly clear.
That big sweating.
Sweating. So again, I'm going to miss him. I truly, truly loved him to death. He was a master carpenter. I have some bookshelves and things that he made for me that are older than my daughter. So they're like 28 years, 30 years old, these pieces that he made for us. And many members of the family, he made so many pieces. So we have that piece of him. The places that he worked, or the place that he worked from a teenager growing up right here in Brooklyn. Actually, he's married. He's buried right now, a couple of yards from my great grandmother, from my aunt Brenda, my cousin Sam. So we Brooklyn through and through. So anyway, to have that, and to have people who worked under his tutelage as far as being a master carpenter. So and like I said, these pieces last forever. There's one bookcase that I need to bring up here actually once I finish remodeling this room, whenever I get back to it, because now with these documents, I'm going back down to Wilcomico, Maryland. I have to go back down there. Shout out to Sister Marie. I was asking her for some quadrants as to where that is in Salisbury, Maryland, because I'm going down there to get some more documentation later on in the summer. So anyway, thank you, Sister Marie, for helping me with that. Um, and again, my uncle was that man. He was that dude, impeccably dressed and married to my aunt for 64 years.
Wow.
64 years. Um, and until he could no more, he adored my aunt and she adored him. And when I'm telling you, they laid a blueprint for us, they laid a blueprint for us. So, when I met my husband, this is the standard you have to be. This is the standard that I'm accepting. This is the standard that I was taught to accept. Anything less than that, this is not going to work out. So, again, shout out to the family on that. But we got a lot to discuss tonight. Gotta move on. While everybody was up in an uproar, Brother Tad, about Roe v. Wade, we're going to get into some of that tonight, too. No
Yeah.
one, and I mean no, go ahead, Brother Tad.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Roe v. Wade. Yes, we have to
Right.
touch on that.
Everybody was in an uproar about that. But what really disturbed me, well, it didn't disturb me because I expected. No one is talking about the Supreme Court's decision on Miranda, which would affect Black people more than Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
Brothers and sisters, watch your back, your front, and your side. You are going to be locked up out here. They are not playing anymore. Now, Supreme Court has shielded law enforcement even further. They don't have to Mirandize you anymore. And you keep running your mouths out here. Keep talking that talk out here. Keep thinking you can do what you want in these internet streets or real streets. These people are not playing with you. Now law enforcement is shielded even more against the people. The Supreme Court's decision to shield police officers from facing lawsuits over failing to issue Miranda warning has been denounced by lawmakers and legal experts. The court's conservative justices, in a 6-3 decision on Thursday, blocked lawsuits against officers who neglect to recite Miranda warning, which begins with the familiar phrase, "You have the right to remain silent," and also includes language about constitutional protections against self-incrimination. The decision comes amid other recent rulings, including the controversial scraping of the 100-year-old firearm law. Now, while you all can run out there and get your pieces and all that, when these police stop you, keep your damn mouths closed. When they take you in these precincts, keep your damn mouths closed.
From the moment they put the cuffs on you.
From the moment they approach you,
Yeah.
your requirement, name, rank, serial number. Period. Name, rank, serial number. Be careful with these police officers when they pull you over in your vehicles. Because you know, when it comes to us, they real trigger happy. Now, I don't know if you all know this, but normally when a police officer pulls over a vehicle, they like to touch the back of the vehicle or the side of the vehicle. I know you. I'm pretty sure you know why they do that, brother Tad.
I forgot, but I know that they definitely do that.
They do it to leave their DNA on
Mm.
the vehicle. So just in case, they want to pin something on you that you did something to them, that DNA is on the vehicle. So if you want to take off and run or whatever, hit and run or what have you, that DNA is on the vehicle. So you have to understand this, brothers and sisters. Miranda affects us directly. Miranda rights, which require police to inform individuals about certain rights prior to an interrogation, were established following the 1966 Supreme Court decision, Miranda v. Arizona.
Yep.
A violation of Miranda does not necessarily constitute a violation of the Constitution.
Right.
So says the justices. And therefore, such a violation does not constitute deprivation of a right secured by the Constitution. Conservative Justice Samuel Alito wrote in a major opinion. Please read that opinion when you get a chance. It's online. The PDF is available for free. These folks are not hiding nothing from you. While you out there in an uproar about TikTok videos and Roe v. Wade and a whole bunch of other nonsense, stay focused on Miranda. This is key. This is important. That's how our brothers and sisters of the Central Park case got wrapped up. Not understanding Miranda. That's how a lot of brothers and sisters get trapped up. Not understanding Miranda. And now you can't even sue anymore, which gives another battery in the back of law enforcement.
Yep.
So I want y'all to be careful out here. I want you, in your spare time, download the PDF SCOTUS majority decision and read the dictums. Please read them. Please read them. We told you here years ago that laws are being repealed. Why are y'all shocked when it comes to Roe v. Wade? We said that here. Laws are going to be repealed, and it's the voters' fault. Your fault. You did it. When we told you in 2013, stop freaking voting, you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen. This is what you get. You're going to learn the hard way. Brother Tad, your thoughts on Miranda and their decision, the Supreme Court?
Well, Miranda rights. It pretty much helped me in one of my situations before, being aware of the Miranda rights, and this is crazy because every time I look at what we're going through right now, I can only think of Del Jones. I can only think of Del Jones. Peace be upon that ancestor, Baba Del Jones. Sure enough, this is the last week of Black Music Month, and he gave us Culture Bandits. Sure enough, as we see the trials of January 6th going on, he wrote about this civil war in his book, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, sure enough, the repealing of our Fifth Amendment right, the right to remain silent, also known as the Miranda rights, because that's what that case was based on. He said in his book, Black Holocaust, or maybe Black Holocaust 2000, that they were going to get rid of the Constitution and they already got one in place. See, all of these things are done methodically. See, I always tell people it's cool to read these books by our elders and ancestors, but where's the application? See, I've been in this movement for years, been in and out. And when I leave, it's because I don't see no change. I see the people ain't serious. Like you said, we've been telling people these things for years now. When we were talking pistols and passports, when we were saying that they're going to turn up their assaults on us, when we were saying everybody thought it was cute, them little prank videos going viral on YouTube with the Urugus coming into our community from California to Detroit to Coney Island. We thought it was cute. And I said, this is an act of war. It's called recognizance. They're testing our defenses. See where we at with it. How much resistance will they get for invading? They always play it off as a joke. But here we are, the New World Order. We were telling people about this stuff before the pandemic, and they locked everything down, and now they jabbing folks left and right. I saw an article today, rather a digital article, a video, where this guy was saying that someone had took the jab and passed away, and the insurance company would not pay the family because the jab was experimental. And they put that along the lines of suicide. You knew the risk of taking an experimental serum, if you would. So the insurance company opted not to pay. See, this thing is very deep. And even when you look at the social situations that go on in our community, like the viral video, a TikTok about the brother with the McDonald's breakfast.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, brother.
Baby, right. I want to tie it all in together. Where are we as a community? Where are we as a community that we don't have proper ethics on being a village? And how do we even respond to somebody that we may need to help us with our village? See, this is multi-layered right now. And we have to take the blinders off of our third eye. We got to become critical thinkers again. Everybody's going with the flow, but without a strategy. You know, I always say, you know, work with the group, but think for yourself. Work with the group, but think for yourself. I get it. All the people in our family aren't conscious, and you still want to go to the family functions. In fact, we encourage you to go to the family functions, but please be the voice of reason when you in these gatherings, because our families are the ones who need to hear this, because they're the ones who are going to suffer from these atrocities, these rollbacks, these things that's geared to our detriment. People are running out voting, but not voting for what's in their best interest. And we don't even know what's in our best interest anymore. We become dumbed down. I was going to use a big word, but I'm just saying we just been dumbed down to just whatever they put out there on the television, we go with it. Everybody crying about Roe versus Wade when they don't even know who Jane Roe is, because that's not even her real name.
And a liar, and she's a liar.
Of course.
It ain't even happen. Well, we'll get into that, but go ahead.
I'm about to say, sis, you know, I say they all liars, because from Rosewood to the murder of Emmett Till to George Stinney to Black Wall Street to the Central Park Five to the Scottsboro Boys, it's always that woman. So I can't trust her no further than I could trip her. So
I like that one, brother. I'm gonna use that one.
So, you know, but because my point is, whatever these folks say, we run with it. And here they got us begging for our genocide, because outside of Jane Roe, we really have to identify who's Margaret Sanger. And what was the purpose of her working with the NAACP and putting Planned Parenthood in our community? Come on, all this information is out there. And for years, you and I have been giving folks this information. And we make it readily accessible because we point you to the direction. In fact, we bring the documentation, we bring the videos, we let you hear from their mouth. These are not things we're making up. We're not putting words in these people's mouths. We're letting you hear it firsthand from themselves. Hopefully, Sister Keisha, you got the video geared up where Jane Roe says she's lying. You know? But it's just a sad state of affairs of where we are right now, because there's people I love and respect who we have a difference of opinion, but for me, it's not opinion. My opinion is based in fact. I am fact driven. When I'm not sure, I say I'm not sure. Say I have to look into that. I got to look a little deeper. But I'm not going to profess to know something that I know for a fact I don't know. But it just pains me that so many people will try to debate me. And I keep telling them, yo, this is just what I do in my spare time. When I'm riding the train, when I'm sitting at my desk, when I'm home alone. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. I'm not into TV like that. I'm either on my laptop, looking up something, developing workout programs, or I'm just feeding my mind. I'm feeding my brain. And I encourage our folks to do the same because what they're feeding themselves is junk. They're listening to the mass media who got two news sources, right? Sister Keith, what's that? Associated Press and Reuters. Both of them read off the same script. We know that for years and years and years, but it kills me that our people are begging for the extermination. So here, Roe v. Wade gets reversed, and the MAGA folks are thanking Trump and all the other people saying, thank you for saving white families, for saving white lives. They said that. I saw the video. Like, it's just amazing. But Dr. Francis Cress Welsing been talked about what this whole racism thing is about. Fear of their genetic annihilation. When we were lynched, we were castrated. Why? They didn't want us to reproduce. In the early 1900s, after we outpopulated them, outpaced them, they sent to Europe for more Europeans. Said, send us your sick and huddled masses. So they sent for the Irish, they sent for the Italians, they sent for the Southern Jews, and gave everybody a status of white because they weren't always considered white. You had to be Anglo-Saxon stock. But now they call the Latinos white. See, are you Spanish? Do you identify as a black Spaniard or a white one? And now they're trying to give Asian folks that same status of whites when we know that's fictitious. Because when we first got here, usually the African or European. You were identified by your continent. That was it. But now they done turned it upside down on us so much. You got the invaders of South Africa like Charlize Theron and all them calling themselves African Americans because they were born in Africa and they migrated to America. It's crazy. They just, and we got to be smarter than that. 20 years ago, we weren't talking about this intersectionality and all this stuff. We weren't talking about cisgender and heteronormative, and every time they come with this new foolish language, we just adopt it and put it in our lexicon and regurgitate it like stupid ass parrots. Come on. I know when I first came into the knowledge at 14 through the lessons, I learned that they was good at the game of tricknology. It was called tricknology. They learned how to trick you with fake knowledge. So you think you smart because you can mimic and parrot their talking points. But it's to your detriment. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox before I get upset. I'm sorry.
We gotta keep Brother Tab blood pressure down. Let's keep the blood pressure down, you know.
Because you know what, Sister Keisha? You know, we've been studying this for so long. And like I always say, when I first really started reading this stuff, it was about the New World Order and the Illuminati. And I see this stuff unfolding right in front of our eyes. But back in the 90s, people thought I was bugging. But they knew I wasn't bugging too hard because I got the books. Here it is. It's documented. Says it right here. It says it right there. Come on. They say hindsight is always 2020. Now we looking back. Remember, the Goody Mob had this song called Cell Therapy, where they was talking about Illuminati and surveillance. Remember, I Shot You. Prodigy said, Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? All our hip hop was talking about the Illuminati and the New World Order. But now the government is now talking about the New World Order. Now they're talking about the global reset. The World Economic Forum is calling it a global reset. The New World Order. Christopher Columbus set out to find the New World. But how has the New World ever benefited people of African descent? Please show me where. When we've been commodities and cannon fodder for whatever their agenda is. And here we are, some slightly intelligent people, I like to think we are, us and our audience, of course. Here we are, becoming cannon fodder again. They stuffing us in a cannon and busting us out way in the sky to destroy our community, and we think we doing our part.
Facts.
regurgitating foolishness.
Facts. And
God
that's
help
what I'm
us all.
saying. A lot of people aren't vetted and they just, spew a lot of nonsense and get people's emotions all up in a tizzy.
Yeah.
Because they realize, Brother Tad, that our people are seriously distracted. There's a documentary entitled Digital Addiction.
Mm.
I would employ everybody. I think it was done by Vice TV, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm sure you can probably catch it on YouTube or something like that. But in your time, check it out and see what this is like. And I know it to be fact because, as I said, with my work with the Freedom Retreat for Boys and Girls, literally, we would see young people go through serious withdrawals. And now it's even worse. To hold someone's attention span now is quite difficult. So, that's why we do what we do. But speaking of Roe v. Wade, this documentary was on FX. So you guys could catch that, I'm sure maybe on YouTube or whatever streaming platform or cable company you have, you can find it. It's free. So you shouldn't have to pay for it. But I'm just going to show the trailer real quick. This came out 2 years ago. So you guys could definitely catch it for free. I think, yeah, it says FX. So hold on one second, family. Look at this. Never mind. On my fleet. Yep. This is my deathbed confession. It was 1969. I was pregnant and I was scared. These two attorneys were looking for a plaintiff to help overturn the Texas abortion laws. That was Roe versus Wade. Norma McCorvey, aka Jane Roe. I came from a rough childhood. We were poor. I liked girls, but my mom told me queers are dirty.
She was exploited and abused.
When I was 16, I got married. I said I'm pregnant, and he hit me. A lot of people are shocked that I've never had an abortion.
Norma McCorvey became the embodiment of the pro-choice cause.
I'm not a demure, picture-perfect, white-gloved lady.
She wanted to be an activist.
She was not the poster girl that would have been helpful.
What? The pro-lifers would holler, "Don't go in there and kill your baby," and I'd say, "Oh, shut up."
That had to be dealt with.
It has cost her physically, emotionally, financially.
She was totally lost in her own mess. I knew what she needed.
He said, "Do you like what you're doing?"
Norma McCorvey has joined a leading anti-abortion group and found religion.
Norma McCorvey, born again Christian. Hallelujah!
It's a betrayal.
All I'm doing is watching out for Norma's ass.
Is she playing us?
If you're nice and quiet and polite, nobody pays any attention to you.
God just worked a miracle. She jumped from spawn of Satan to a child of Christ.
If it were known she was a lesbian, she would be kicked out.
I loved her with all my heart.
When you do what we did to Norma, you lose your soul.
This is for all the women to come after me.
Her whole life was an attempt to tell her real story.
Uh-huh.
So there you have it. There you have it. It wasn't even about giving birth. It wasn't even about a woman's right to choose whether she wants to give birth or not. Two Texas lawyers saw a poor white girl, decided to use her for their benefit. Gloria Allred built her career on this lie.
Mm-hmm.
Gloria Allred built her career on this lie. This chick was a sodomite. So I don't know what y'all thought you knew, but this is the real story. So anyway, like I said, you guys could check it out at your leisure whenever you want to, on whatever streaming services you have nowadays. I don't know, but it's there for you to watch and find out for yourself. And then come back and start talking that talk. When did white people care about black women giving birth? When We already know white women don't like rearing their children. They gave them to us, didn't they? Huh?
Still do.
Why
Still
do
do.
we care about what happens with them? This for them is a numbers issue. This is about their numbers dwindling. This is about them saving the white race. Has absolutely nothing to do with a woman's right to choose. This is a war tactic. You all are getting caught up in a war and playing on the wrong side of the field, and you're losing. They will continue to use you just like they use them. And you got to hear it in her own words. And then you come back to me or us and tell us what you think. Now, I wanted to show this clip. Hold on one second. Because I want our people, not this one. Hold on. Take that one off. This one right here. About them wanting to increase their numbers. Has nothing to do, family, with a woman's right to choose. Anybody who tells you that is misinformed, not well read, or a straight up liar. Because I read the law. I don't read sound bites. But anyway, let's check this clip out real quick and we'll come back and discuss it. Hold on.
Tongue-in-cheek tweet, and that I didn't expect anyone to actually conceive a child based on a tweet. But at the same time, I was trying to draw attention in a slightly humorous way to a very real problem, and that is that whites currently do not have a replacement rate when it comes to our births. And by some estimations, we are scheduled for complete extinction in 300 years. And if you're thinking about that in terms of like historically, that's not very long. So we really need to get on this and decide whether or not we want to have white people in the future of the world.
You know, there's districts in California that are basically just 30, 35 years ago, it was majority white, and now there's hardly any white people left. That's one generation. I mean, that's unprecedented, the tempo that this is occurring in. The Daily Mail piece specifically said birth rates plummet to lowest in 25 years as poor economy puts would-be parents off having children. But here's a couple of headlines out of the Daily Mail. White Britons are now a minority in Leicester, Luton, Slough, and Birmingham. Pupils let down by their parents. White British children are overtaken by 10 other ethnic groups by the age of 16, as alarming reports show their families do not do enough to support them in school. Go away, you shouldn't be here, don't come back. The corner of Yorkshire that has almost no white residents. This is what you're talking about. This is the situation that we're in right now. How is this? What you're proposing is have more babies. That's it, right?
Exactly. And I often say it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek tweet, and that I.
So there you have it, family. There you have it. We don't gotta play these games. We don't got to play these games out here. It's a survival mechanism for them. So again, shout out to the ancestor, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, vindicated yet again. This lady caught all kinds of hell for speaking this whole truth right here that these white folks just repeated to you. Yep. This is what it's about. Their numbers are dwindling quickly, rapidly.
Genetic annihilation. They
absolutely
outpaced them. This is why our folks were castrated during the lynching era. They did not want us to reproduce. This is what the Tuskegee experiment was all about. Even today in Africa, when the people need food and water, they taking contraceptives, and all kinds of foolishness over there. You know, we have to wake up. They want us to stop reproducing. They want us to stop multiplying. They're out for world dominance, whether we acknowledge it or not. When they show us these James Bond spy movies and Inspector Gadgets and Goldfinger and Goldmember and Pinky and the Brain, what are they always trying to do? Take over the world. Literally, take over the world. And this is what they're doing. They don't control the world, but they control the image that they control the world. And unfortunately, people are buying too much into the image because that's how humanity learned. We learn through observation. So, and they recognize that if they put certain images in front of us, chances are we gonna believe our lying eyes. So they tell you God white, you believe God white, and you treat white people as the closest thing to God on earth. So you respect everything they say and do. They tell you it's okay to kill this group and support that group, and you with it. They tell the Ukraine your friend, you say they're your friend. They tell you a black country is your enemy, you say these Negroes are our enemy. What's the matter, boss? We sick? And I mean, it's
Right, Tad.
right.
Thanks.
It's
What's up,
called a
boss?
race,
We sick?
and it's called a race for a reason. It's a competition for world dominance, and we pulling up to the finish line. They losing, so they using tricks. But understand who created the classifications of races. Karl Linnaeus and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach. Please be clear. And they mapped it out. They wrote papers and documentations. And then their cohorts created laws to support their theories and their findings. And that's how they created the system of white supremacy, which is fictitious. It's fake. People who are better at things don't have to cheat. They don't have to lie. They don't have to steal. Your skill and talent will demonstrate that, not your lies. But unfortunately, and I know I'm not talking to the audience because, again, like I always say, we got a sophisticated audience. We got an audience of intelligent people. But these are the talking points we need to counter the points that we're being bombarded with by network news and all this other propaganda machines that's out here. That's just turning our young people's minds to mush. Because what we're talking about is on a higher level. We're talking about laws. We're talking about things that affect everybody. But then when we bring it down to the lower level, to our community, and how these subtle subconscious indicators manipulate our behaviors to where we're going to argue whether children eat or not, that shows you how far we've fallen as a community, because we all know when we came up, there's no question. However, Sister Keisha, I understand the brother's position as well, because there's other videos, and not of this particular couple, but other couples that support. I saw another video where a brother's paying child support for his child, though the mother had multiple children, and she's using his child support to take care of all of her other children that aren't his, and wants to take him back to court for more money just so he can help her with her other children, which is not fair to the brother. But again, our maiden selection, as Dr. Francis Cress Wilson talked about too in the ISIS papers, at what age should we even have children? Our level of maturity. You know, I'm a teen father, so I'm speaking from experience. It was a challenge, but then it wasn't a challenge because I was fortunate enough to deal with women who were raised in a village like I was raised in a village. So my children were raised in a village, and we didn't have this drama that we see today. But fast forward, I'm also generations away from where we are today. I'm a grandpa now. I'm not a young parent, you know, and it's unfortunate that so many of us that was raised in the village are not teaching these young people village etiquette and village behavior, that these children didn't ask to come here. I mean, not verbally, but, you know, from an African position, you know, children pick who their parents are. However, for the sake of our community, we got to do what's in the best interest for the children. Because even with the whole McDonald's thing, that's multi-layered. Because my thing is, why the sister didn't have no food to feed them children anyway? Like that's
Actually, it was a skit. So it was
is
a
it
skit.
really? Well, that's
It
good.
was. It
And
was. It was a skit.
I'm
She,
thankful.
yes, she does comedic skits. I didn't find that funny.
And
But
I'm thankful
anyway,
because I don't think our children should suffer, because though that's a skit, real or imagined, we know these situations do go on in our community. What child gets what kind of treatment in the family? You know, that's a real thing that we do have to talk about. This is why so many people can't come together and mate properly, because of the trauma that we walking with from our childhood.
that's
You know,
one of the things that, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad once said, our people don't understand the science of mating.
yeah,
We don't. We
yeah.
don't. And unfortunately, the fallout is dysfunction. It's dysfunction. So that's why, I'm thankful that we do the work that we do,
Yes.
and so many of the people who are like us, we out there in the trenches with our people for real, while everybody plays games, if you will.
Sitting on the internet and sitting in lecture hall and not on the ground where we're most needed. People can't look, Sister Keisha. A lot of these people can't walk through Bed-Stuy or stand in Fort Greene.
That's right.
Stand on Fulton Street or stand on Putnam Avenue. You know what I'm saying? They can't stand on Nostrand Avenue. Very few can. But you can't teach the people if you can't reach the people. We have many, and I speak not saying us, but a lot of our folks sit in this ivory tower and condemn our folks as if they don't have a basic understanding of what has happened and what is happening to our people every generation since our abduction from the continent. We should have at least a basic understanding of that. Yeah, we bear some responsibility. We bear a lot of responsibility of that. But let's never forget who put us in these conditions. And every time we go to pull ourselves out, who keep moving the goalposts on us. All right,
never let you Rugal off the damn hook.
Ever.
They always on the damn hook.
Ever.
They still on the damn hook. Don't ever take them off the damn hook. I see we got our brother Ashe SJ in the building. What's good with you, Ashe?
Brother Ashe.
Yeah, now you hit it right on the head, Ty, and the thing about like those videos, the thing, I'm not really tapped into social media like I used to be, but the thing about that video that you shared, Keisha, is even if it was a skit, certain things just shouldn't be put out there for entertainment.
Agreed.
Because some of these things end up being more divisive than helpful. Some people say, oh, it's starting a conversation, but the rate of all people, you know what I'm saying, the mental health and mental illness, I should say, of all people, the conversation might get started, but the conversation going to turn into an argument, and then it's going to turn into a fight, and then you're not following this person, you're blocking that person, or you're trying to find this person in real life in the street over a conversation that wasn't prefaced, from a centered perspective. So that's why I'm grateful that we have two shining pillars that are going to come on tonight. I'm super excited. Really, I'm just here tonight to just sit at the feet of the elders and get my pad and my pencil out and just listen, take notes, because we have two shining pillars of what it really truly means to be African-centered, to be centered, and to really be about self-improvement. And of course, self-improvement deals with starting with yourself, but then, comes into your community, your nation, your race, things of that nature, your whole planet, but these people have put in work. They have experience and a long list of accolades that they have done and they continue to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very excited to have our guests. I know they're coming on soon, right, Keisha?
As soon as you're done, we're bringing them right in immediately because we want to be respectful of their time.
They ain't wasting no time.
Definitely. Thank you, family. We have with us. Hold on, family. Hold on. Buckle up.
Buckle right.
Up. That's it. Stay focused. This is the focus hour. We got with us Dr. Mwalimu Baruti and Mama Ya Baruti in the building. Now, when it comes to Black family, Black love, the responsibility of what community should be, we have elders. We have those who came before. When I came on a program, I talked about my aunt and uncle being married 64 years.
That's amazing.
And I'm talking about, we just laid to rest the uncle today. But prior to that, he looked at my aunt with so much love and admiration. And she the same. So any man in my life, because my father was deceased, a month before I was brought into this world. And so my uncles picked that bag up and they held me tight ever since. And so I was saying to, Brother Tad and them earlier, when I decided, we was going to get married or we decided we were going to marry, my uncle was like, all right, you stay right there and you come with us in the back.
Okay.
And I told Brother Tad, It was the dead of winter, ice on the ground. When he came out that back room, he was drenched in sweat. Because they made him understand that there is a standard in this family. And my uncle said it in front of me. We don't get in her business. But the moment she come back here with some foolishness, you got to deal with all of us. And then he proceeded, Mama and Baba, he proceeded to tell my husband where all his siblings lived. We're not looking for you. We're looking at them. If you worship and honor them, treat her the same. You understand? So again, we have a blueprint and a standard tonight with us. Baba Yah, Baba Baruti. Thank you for joining us. Yes, give them a round of applause.
Yes, we had an invitation earlier, and yes, that this is working out this time. We're thrilled to be on.
And it is. You have no idea how good I feel right now. It is such an honor to be. I mean, the last time that I saw you all in person, wow, I had so much admiration, and the admiration, yes, it's been years. The admiration has done nothing but grow, because as you all were saying before, you all are boots on the ground people. You know, grassroots. This is what I call grassroots. Got a lot of folks walking around talking about their grassroots. But I'm looking at people who I know. There's no guessing. There's no, I read this. No, I know that you all do the work. You know, we were excited when, Sister Keisha, when you gave us the invitation a while back. We were excited, you know, and we're not excited about everybody who offers an invitation, and everybody who offers an invitation, we don't accept. We don't have time for games. But to be in the presence of warriors, you know, that's a super good feeling. So we appreciate you all. I could go down the list for each one of you in terms of the things that I respect, relative to family, relative to relationship, relative to guidance, relative to working with the children, relative to all of this. That is nation building. That's the process. So this is an exciting moment for us to be in your presence. You know, I know that we have done our work, and we haven't come close to finishing it, and probably will never finish it. But this is part of the honor of doing that, when those people who you honor you for, you know, what you're doing as well. So it's an honor to be on this, and it's wonderful to see you guys in person, if you will, again.
Yes, indeed, Baba.
And a Bibi Fahodier to people who are sending greetings in the audience. The Bibi Fahodier family.
Bibi Fahodier, absolutely. Bibi Fahodier.
See, my brother Ashe SJ got the Kabuka.
Yeah,
he's representing. I recognize
she said it first. Yeah,
the hair is right here. That's Kabuka. He's representing.
She's got the book.
Yeah.
This is my Bible.
I gotta go grab my book and shirt.
Yeah. This is my Bible.
Wow, you got both. I know you have both of them. Absolutely.
Yes,
and we're gonna be live with Kabuka back again this November. So it's time. It's time.
Love it. That is my Bible. I go to that book often.
Okay.
Actually, I probably need to order a new one, because that's how much I'm serious. I go through it, and I have a little glue right here holding something together.
Glue and rubber bands.
Yes, because this and Iwa actually, they keep me balanced and in tune with what I have to do. That this work never stops.
Right.
Because until I get vengeance for mine, it's never going to stop. And for me, you know, I hear people talk about reparations and all that, and of course, we should be repaired. But I want mine in blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I carry this with me all the time. It's always next to me. In fact, in honor of you two, last summer, you know, I belong to another organization called SWAP. Shout out to my sisters who are watching tonight. We had an Iwa ceremony. And it was in honor of that book.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It was very heartfelt. You know, a lot of sisters were pouring into each other. Um, that day we grew as women. We became closer as women. We did a whole, thing of what Iwa is, how it is our masks for the world, what we expect of each other, how we can rely on each other. So again, I thank you. I thank you. They had never even heard of such a thing. And I'm in an organization with over 12 women, but they had never heard of such a thing. And some, well, one sister in particular, shout out to Tawa. I know Tawa's on the check-in, but both of her parents are from the continent. You know, mothers from Ghana, fathers from Nigeria. She had not even heard of such a thing. And, just pouring into each other, it was magnificent, and it made us closer than we could ever be. So I thank you. I thank you for that. For real.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
And you all, let me just say, I'm hearing thunder out here. Last night, Baba was teaching a Sappho, and the power went out. So if it's not us, snubbing, we're like, but hopefully we usually don't have it 2 nights in a row, the lights going out, but just FYI.
That's shot and go. He said you need a break.
Yes. And I took it.
It happens to me out here too, because where I'm at in Brooklyn, it's a conservation area. So all of the wiring and stuff are not underground, but above ground. So it happens here with me as well. So I do understand. But I want to get into.
Excuse me, Mama.
Yes.
I see someone has the comment, the quote, a blood debt must be paid in blood. And they're quoting Hakeem Matabuti, and that's actually Bobby E. Wright.
Bobby E. Wright said that.
I was about to say that. That's why I left it up there.
That's the last. And I don't remember exactly what everything is, but it's in the last paragraph of his essay, Menticide. And that's not even in the book, but that's his last paragraph.
So it's probably Hakeem quoting Bobby E. Wright.
Yes. And absolutely.
Definitely. So I want to, first of all, get into Akabin House. What is it? Can you tell our people, what it's about, what it is that you all do? Because believe it or not, we have a lot of young people who check in with us. A lot.
Thanks.
So, actually, me and Brother Tad was talking about this. When was it? Last week or 2 weeks ago? There's a young man in the community that we all raised, and he called a couple of weeks ago. He's 14 to check on me and Tad and see how we doing.
Oh, yes.
As a little brother, Mr. Menelik. Yes.
We have some young people who definitely watch and are in tune with us. So if you can tell us, what is Akabin House and what it is that you all do?
Okay, well, first I want to say, we have Akabin House and Akabin Institute. So they're 2 sides of the same nation building work of teaching, but Akabin Institute is the full-time homeschool tutorial program that we just celebrated 23. Well, we just completed the 23rd school year, although we're doing summer school. And actually, Akabin House started at the same time. They really went hand in hand. So it's 23 years as well, even though, not necessarily on the exact same day, but the first year of the school was also the first year of Baba publishing, even though he had written the chess primer, but hadn't published it, through a major printer. He had written it some years ago. But so it's about, we even chose the Adinkra symbol. Akabin is an Adinkra symbol of the war horn. And the proverb that goes with that war horn, it is when the war, and I'm paraphrasing, is when the war horn sounds that we see the real men. But, the war horn is blown in our villages when people are called to, it's time to fight. And we chose that because we were willing to fight. And initially, the initial thought was the school. but we're willing to fight on behalf of our children, trying to save them from the public school and private school madness. There's two versions of the same coin. If it's not centered in our story and culture, traditions, it's still miseducation, diseducation. So, but with that, give thanks, when we started the school full time, that allowed Baba time to start writing his books. And so Uncle Ben House is our self-publishing company where we've published Baba's 28 books.
Wow.
So, which is the other arm of teaching. So we teach students and adults, like Baba's doing this night class. I've done a couple of classes. We've done a joint class, but the books, of course, reach a much wider audience. So it started with the focus on the children, and with the books that expanded to classes for adults, although the books are, classes in themselves. But it's all about teaching. It's nation building. We have to teach our people.
And we also have, I communicate with 70 some brothers who are incarcerated. I put out a quarterly newsletter to them. And we do, online courses. We do couples coaching. We do everything that is needed within our range, within our ability. So whatever the community calls for, that's what you're supposed to be. It's that advice that you get when a child, where I got as a child, go where you're needed. So wherever there is a need that we can fulfill reasonably, that we have the time or we have the ability, all of that fits under Akaben Institute. And in a sense, just in terms of the books, one of the things before Akaben Institute was started, we looked at a number of independent Black institutions, some of them centered, some of them not, but we found the same thing. The tuition is never enough to allow the school to survive. So what we saw at least two of the schools were bookstores started by those schools to, help to finance those schools significantly. And of course, we're in our home. It removes a lot of the overhead. And that's part of the advice that we give to people when they want to do homeschooling program or start their own schools. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. Somebody needs something fancy. They don't need to be around center folks. But so the book writing started when Akaben Institute started. And I have to look at the ancestors for this because they flowed. It wasn't me sitting there trying to make this happen. No, they just flowed. And I remember one year, it's like you said, the ancestors are at work. I'm not, the ancestors are at work. So there was one year, I believe that we had 2 students or whatever it was. I mean, we've had 21. We've had
maybe by the end of the school year.
The book sales increased during that year and compensated for the lost tuition. And when that year was over and more students returned, the book sales went back, back to normal. So, we know that other things are at work here as well. And we know that we're doing what's right. We know what we're doing, what's righteous. The ancestors know where our hearts are at. They know we're working for African people. They know that sovereignty is our goal. And that's what Akaben Institute, the end result. That's the end goal. We may not see it as so many say, now in this lifetime, but you have to put everything into it before you go. That's the goal. So Akaben Institute, even though the students, the warriors in training are the center, they're only one aspect of it.
And I just want to quickly add something major that we do, but everything is related. So like the K-Buka program is related to the book K-Buka, but also our annual complementarity conference is related to Baba's 2 books on complementarity now. And because when we talk about, so it's all about nation building and having unions, men and women coming together, forming families. So we do all this other nation building work. So for example, teaching and writing books. But if there is no nation, if we have no families and we don't have strong, committed families, all of this other work, we could get our economy in order and children are learning in African-centered schools and our martial arts, whatever. But we have no nation without the families. So complementarity is very important. And then that relates back to the school too, because that's a part of the curriculum. We're teaching the children about marriage and finding a good complement. And this is African because the rumor is marriages, that's what white folks do, you know. So it's all interrelated.
I'm glad you said that because you have a lot of chatter, I like to call it, on these internet spaces where people are talking about Black men and women shouldn't be together, can't be together. And I really don't, to me, that's foreign language, you know, and it doesn't connect with me. Excuse me. But it does with other people. And we find that deeply disturbing.
It is.
What do you say as it relates to Black male-female relationship? You know, what are some of the things that you are seeing that are causing a division, if you will, in that area?
Well, I can start it with one word. That's Urugu. That's the main guiding force behind all of this. The family institution of all the institutions, family, the economy, the religion, spirituality, all the rest of this, all these other institutions. Now they've been attacked, of course, but none of them have been attacked to the degree and with the consistency as the family institution in our community. It's amazing to me when you look at the statistics, African people have more extended families than any other people. After all of this destruction still, that talks to the value that we hold for family, for children. We are a family, child-centered people, period. So when someone is trying to destroy you, then they're going to attack you with the family. And the family is, of course, where the socialization occurs. That's where the children learn who they are. That's where the children learn their roles. That's where the children learn their strength. That's where the children learn about mom, dad, you know, uncles, whatever. They learn how family works. So if you can destroy that, if you can disconnect us from our spirit, if you can disconnect us from our essence, from who we are, if you can disconnect us from family, from lineage, then you've broken our spirit. You can kill us like that. And unlike some people, you know, you see people emphasizing African proverbs or saying, you know, you can't kill all of your enemy. Urugu is very intent on trying to disprove that. They're working with all their might to destroy us, to remove us from existence. And this is part of the process. So it's like when I was, this is relatively new in terms of the scheme of things, but it's an extension of what's been going on. Okay, so this is technically it's not new, but it's new in terms of us actively engaged in this. But it took us to believe that we are them, to believe that we move like they do, that they are the human model, that this is the way we're supposed to be, for us to be at each other's throats, ready to kill each other over some McDonald's. You know, this is, and I know it's only a skit, but still, like was said, it's the idea of this. It is a discussion that's going on, even if it's not about this particular falsified event. You know, so you destroy a people. A people no longer exists if you can keep the men and the women separated from each other. You don't reproduce. When you homosexualize the men, you homosexualize the women, you turn us into extreme individualists who, you know, can't live with each other, spoiled individuals who have to always have their way. People come into relationships and there's no commitment. There's no vision of African sovereignty, which should be the goal. When that's absent, you know, then it's over. It's a done deal. And I'm not a pessimist. If I didn't believe in African sovereignty and that we can do this, then, you know, I'd be at the club right now. Well, I might be a little bit too old for the club, but I'd be somewhere, you know, like that. So I believe that this is not only possible, I believe that it is coming. I believe that we're winning. You know, an elder corrected me on that one time when I said, you know, no, we're not. We are winning. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts. But if you can just tear the men and the women apart, you know, that's half the battle right there.
You know, I have a question. Now that you mentioned that, Baba, when it comes to, like, because I see a lot of people, especially people that are not as weathered, people my age and younger that get into, African centeredness, and they do it for a period, and then they end up just dropping the whole thing, falling off, going totally left in the other direction. So when I come around elders or people that are just more experienced, I always ask them what is the key to longevity? Because you and Mama Ya have been doing this for so long. And I know also doing it as a team where you're working with your own, you have to have your own inspirations and your own goals, and then have them match up with somebody else as a partner. How do you keep that longevity going, and how do you keep, being inspired and refreshed to do this work? Because we know dealing with our people is hard. Like a lot of us are ill. What would you say to these people, or give advice to these younger people that are not as weathered, that, they get discouraged sometimes and they just want to, give up?
I just want to say quickly, you have to know that we're winning. Okay? You have to know that. There's a song, and I think I talked about the last time I was in Brooklyn. There's a song that's the title song on the Commodores album Heroes. And in the song, there's a line that says, "What makes a soldier ride alone in the battle?" And that's knowing that you're right, knowing that you're righteous. It's like what you do wrong, you forget about it, you don't fight, the struggle's too difficult, so you quit. How are you going to explain that to the ancestors when you cross over? Right. To me, I wouldn't have an excuse. So you got to be stronger than that. You have to be committed from the get. You have to not be afraid of struggle, of difficulty. And of course, this is a hard battle. It's hard battle for folks who are seasoned. Because you hate to see these folks who are supposed to be fighters, and well, many of them are just punks. They just came this way because it was attractive or exciting at the moment.
Very true.
Well, I'm going to personally, for me, and I see this in a lot of couples we know who've been married longer than us. Thankfully, we've been married 37 years, but but and that's real. That's very real. It is very challenging, but it was our nation building work that, and in fact, that's what unites us. So Baruti and I, an example, our personalities are very different, but we are on what brought us together in the first place was a love of our people. So even at that time, we saw our people as Black people. We love Black people. Together, we grew to learn, no, we're African people, and we've been re-Africanizing. But the more, because our marriage is bigger than us. And in fact, it wasn't just me having an epiphany. It was people coming to us, thanking us. And to we're like the first example they saw of a couple who really were committed to each other. They had family members. They often said, they saw their grandparents, but they seemed to hate each other, and it was just, they were kind of stuck with each other. But some of our best moments, of course, we have family, and but some of our best moments are when we're doing our nation building work. We're having a lecture, we're at an African event. So it's not the stress of our very different personalities. It's the greater picture. So it's like teaching. So sometimes he's in one room, I'm in the other. We're kind of tag team. He's teaching, I'm not really teaching. And I hear something he says, I jump in, he jump in. It's the nation building work. So we have a purpose that's bigger than us. Because if it were just us, it would be like, woo, we're just so different. This is hard, and it is. But when we have a greater purpose, and the purpose is we're working toward sovereignty. So, what is better than that? The focus is, I think people give up more quickly and we all get fatigued, if you're in a long marriage, because it's challenging. But when you have, in the same way from our traditions, it's not about the two individuals, right? It was the two families. being united in marriage. So it's bigger than you. But when it's just about you, you're like, shoot, I'm tired. Hey, let's move on. But when it's bigger than you, it allows you to endure. But it's not just, oh, you're enduring, but you're enduring in the way that it should be, because and we have the village support. So we were just coaching a couple earlier, often. So this is funny. So even like before the complementarity conference, we might not be thrilled with each other, but when but we're doing this nation building work, or our marriage benefits from counseling, coaching couples.
Wow.
So, and yes, and the challenges that we have when they're saying, oh, and they think, oh, it's just them. And like, no, yeah, we know about that. Yeah. And immediately they're smiling, and that gives them hope. But they, so it's all the greater umbrella of sovereign nation building work. So that's the part. So people are more willing to do, well, let me do a business. Let me get in politics for my people. But like I see a lot of warriors, they're really willing to fight the enemy, but they may not be willing to fight for their marriage. Like, something's wrong with that. You got all this warrior energy. Okay, yes, fight the enemy, but fight for your family. And recognize that your family is your number one nation building priority, which in a lot of cases is not. And when we see with a lot of warriors who they're doing great nation building work, and we appreciate that, but they don't recognize their priority should be the nation building work of establishing and maintaining their families.
And Mama, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think everything you said was right on point and very important, because I think when we talk about the relationships and love is an action word, and what you're demonstrating and instructing folks is that it's not always going to be easy, especially when you're looking for longevity. There are going to be bumps in the road, and we have to have the emotional maturity to work through it. And as you said, see, there's something bigger at stake than just our individual emotions. Now, doing this for so long, and even having family members watching families separate, being part of a separation while doing this movement, it is a challenge, because sometimes you may see the vision, but the person you're working with don't. And sometimes it's just that individualism that Baba was talking about earlier, under this yoke of Yorugism, if I could say that, if that's a word,
It is one, yes.
Right, Yorugism.
Yes.
I think, as we were talking earlier about the McDonald's thing, those a skit. I think that's a perfect time for us to identify certain behaviors and what we agree with as a value system within our community and what we don't. Because as much as we talk about coming together as a village, having the conversation, there still have to be village elders that are respected, that can direct the conversation when people start veering off, just talking about their feelings and not addressing the past trauma that they really haven't healed from. Because many of us that come into this movement, that start finding our way, who we are, as you said, Mama Ya, you came in as loving Black people and then realized, no, we all Africans. So, as the language changed, because our intellectual development changes, some of our folks get stuck. And I guess my question would be, how do we identify with the solid elders that can guide and facilitate the conversations that's necessary for the village to move forward? Because, of course, we've all seen charlatans in the past 5-10 years. Easy. How do we identify proper elders?
And that, in a way, is an easy and a difficult question, because of the charlatans, because they've messed up the groove, and because so many of the, if you will, new people aren't able to distinguish. To me, the evidence is in the work. I grew up in a world, talk is cheap. Any fool can do it.
Right.
And we're and that's part of Urugu's work, to have us so fragmented and misdirected relative to what it means to be African, that we sort of follow whatever feels good or whatever sounds good, whoever's the most eloquent, or whoever, you know, has a gift of gab, what have you, not thinking about whether this is going to take us toward the tradition of our ancestors. To me, when I'm measuring an elder, and I, you know, of course I have elders as well, I'm looking at my, are they following those principles? Is that what their life has been about? So when I look at somebody like Nana Hannibal Afrique, who is an ancestor now, this man was Ma'at. Okay, this man moved in Ma'at. This man did everything that I would expect for a warrior to do relative to Ma'at. That's why I dedicated center to him, because he is one of the best models of Jegnahood that I've ever seen. And there, you know, there are plenty of others, but he's one of the best models I've ever seen. Folks have to do more than just listen. They have to watch what this person is about. They have to watch what they have done. They have to follow that record because it's consistent. Just like somebody could come to me and they could, you know, present themselves as a warrior, and, you know, we have this long conversation in one day, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that person. Unless I know their history, unless I know their story, I don't know that person. And if they're trying to get over, well, of course, they're going to include a lot of lies in there. So there has to be a study of that person. Just like if you have a institution of learning or childcare, what have you, before anybody is allowed in that space, they need to have been studied for a while before they can, you know, be anywhere near the children or be anywhere near the families. And I'll say even though everybody here is involved, and I love the way Mama Keisha works with her grandchild, because I see there's a connection there. I see that child at work. And that was one of the things that first attracted me to Tad. Brother Tad here is the way he is connected to the young folk in the community and with his family, with everybody. And it's like, where does your family end? It doesn't, anybody, you know, who walks in this direction, who you know, wants guidance, who is willing to love. Okay. And it's like, that's your responsibility. That's African. So if I watched you for a year, I'm gonna say, okay, that's the direction I need to go, because this person is being African. This person is being Ma'at. Wow. We in part of this instant gratification, instant society. So we meet somebody, they like something that's on our page, and suddenly we're friends. Suddenly I know this person. I don't know jack about that person. So until we can, you know, change that, until people really understand what Ma'at, you know, is about, what all those principles stand for, how do they look in action, then we're going to be confusing a lot of elders with elders.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Real quick, while we staying on this topic, because I definitely want to give Mama Ya and you, Baba, your flowers, you know, because you have contributed in all of our development, but specifically in a way that I like a lot when it comes to character development. You know, and that's what we kind of going into this conversation with now. And it seems like when we talk about the work and things of that nature, you have some people out here that try to make it seem like they're doing the work, but totally leave out the character development. You know, and I would like for, like Keisha said, we have some listening people that are new, some younger people, things of that nature. Could you just tell some kind of starter ways for beginners? How can people start working on their character development and becoming a better African, both of you?
What is it? The 42 principles of Ma'at. I mean, really, if that's just those 42, if we all practice those, there wouldn't be character issues, because it speaks to respect the creator and that which is sacred. They speak to how you should behave, your personal behavior, how you should behave toward others, and how you should behave toward nature. So I think now, of course, I love Baba Baruti's Iwa, which it, you know, lays it out. But I think many people are not going to read Iwa, but a major part of Iwa, he's breaking down those 42 and then plus laws of Ma'at. But that would be a simple list for us to live by. And, you know, easier said than done. But definitely that's how, you know, our people were judged. Part of Kemetic culture, your heart being weighed against the feather, you need to be able to say, I have not done the things that you have been instructed not to do.
And my response, what I was going to say first thing is, read Iwa. That's part of self-discipline. You know, if it's you're not going to get it in a video, you got to sit down with it. Just like you got to sit down, Mama Rema Jirugu. You need to sit down with it. You know, you got to play with that bad boy in your mind, understand exactly what the points are being made. But I would also, in terms of the short run, just like I say to compliments and potential compliments, the first thing you need to do is sit down and write what's wrong with you, what you're doing wrong. Okay, what do I need to work on? And pick one. And for me, you go down that list and you pull out the one that's the worst, because all of them are connected in some way, shape, form, fashion. And don't worry about the rest of them. Just work on that one issue, that one weakness that you have, because we know. I'm almost going to say intuitively, we know when we're wrong. Baba Hannibal, you know, he used to say that the definition for African people of good and evil is simple. If it helps African people, it's good. If it hurts African people, it's bad. We don't need to get, you know, into all these other, you know, 20, 30 book explanations. It's real simple. It's not complicated. So we need to see, you need to sit down as a person, you know, in your room, turn off the lights, what have you. Okay, you know, how am I sorry? Let me be honest with myself. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to improve the quality of my character so I can be the kind of example for those who are coming up behind me? Okay, what do I fear? Okay. And Urugu should pop up there somewhere in terms of us being afraid to do what needs to be done, because we know what needs to be done. Us being afraid to do what needs to be done because of we know that there are consequences coming from Urugu. There are consequences coming from their minions, Negroes. We know that there are consequences there. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves, well, how do I get over my fears of this? I have to recognize that I'm afraid. You know, how do I get over those fears? And that means to stand, you know, as an African, to be somebody who, you know, to be of your word. If you're supposed to be a person of power, not of influence, but if you're a person of power, then that means that you pursue your will regardless. You do what's right. That's what the Kemites, they taught us. He said, your job as a warrior, your job as an African is to steer this boat right. If it's off course, your job is to put it back on course. That's your job. Okay. So are you a man or you a mouse? You know, to me, it's not, there's no gray area. Okay? If you're working for African people in a fearless way or you're not, and you need to check yourself, and then maybe, you know, find a model, you know, then go through the oracles of mind. It doesn't require reading to do that. It just requires you knowing what's right. You see what's wrong in this world.
Wow. And I would like to add, our people, we are in desperate need of healing, because at the root of our insane behavior, self-destructive behavior, destructive behavior toward our people is hurt, pain, trauma. And without getting to the root of our problems, then we're going to continue to have character issues. We won't be able to sustain relationships. We just go through life causing drama, chaos, all of that. And, you know, not that we need it. There's scientists to tell us, but scientifically, they're able to look at the DNA of African people, and they can see where the trauma has been passed down. So you have centuries of trauma passed down. So whether you were fortunate enough, and I was very fortunate, you know, sheltered, small town, big family. I was sheltered from a lot of the trauma that many of our people experience, but I'm still an African living in this state of oppression. And so even though I may not have the trauma that some of our people, I'm still, as an African, in need of healing. And so that's extremely important for everything.
Exactly. And I'm glad that Ashe went in that direction, and the answers that you all gave. And we all have to have our level, or what I call check them. Certain people got to be able to check you on certain things, and you have to have that openness. Like for me, I go to my aunts,
Okay.
and one, cousin in particular, she's more like a big sister to me because we pretty much grew up together very closely. But I confide in them a lot. And I do so because the trust that they've given me since I was a child. And even like you said, the husband, he gets on my nerves and I gets on his too. But I know how to go downstairs and chill out for a minute, or do what I have to do for us, right? Because even when we got married, as you said, these are two families marrying. And when you look at the dynamic of you having 4 sets of grandparents, it's more involved in that. So me knowing that the family that I have, to bring someone around who wasn't of a particular caliber wasn't going to fly.
Right.
And they wouldn't care how well I'm doing or how old I am. They will get in me quick. But I have that respect to allow them to do that because I understand that the wisdom that they've given me is for my betterment.
Absolutely.
And the betterment of our relationship. Today, I didn't know, when I arrived at my uncle's funeral, that, my aunt wanted me to eulogize him. So in order to do that, the family must have a level of respect and honor for you. Right? So I was humble in them in my aunt coming to me and asking me to do that. And because, like I said, I wasn't notified until I arrived. And I arrived a little late. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, when I got there, I had to come off the fly to speak about my uncle in a way that people who've never met me would understand our relationship as a family. I know I did my uncle well because people he worked with 50 years ago came up to me and said that I honored him in a way that they have never heard a Black man been honored before.
Wow.
Wow, that's beautiful.
But that was because of the relationship that I had with my uncle. You understand that? So family to me is the blueprint for everything. And I think a lot of our families are so disjointed and just disconnected. Oftentimes I see we can't get ourselves out of the way because I've always been the way that I am. I can call up my siblings right now. They will tell you from a child, I've always been who I am. Nothing is new with me. So I understand that my approach with certain family members had to be different. But in this day, June 30th, 2022, we are all on one accord. I didn't have to shove it down their throat. I didn't have to ram it down their throat. I didn't have to beat them over the head with it. All I had to do was be the Black woman that I am. Period. So I agree with everything that you guys say, 100%. I'm a living testament of that.
Ashe.
Ashe.
We don't.
Go ahead, Brother Tad.
No, I just say we don't take the measure of character as how truthful a person is. Okay, this is Rugel's world is a world of liars. It's a world of evil. The most successful people are the best liars. Okay. So we don't even know how to deal with someone who's coming to us with the truth. We don't know how to accept that. We get surprised by it when it comes because we're so used to lies. And that goes back to the question of how do you identify the elder, and why is it so difficult? It shouldn't be a difficult process. That should be, one. All right, he's the one, she's the one. They're the ones. But because so many people lie, and Urugu has set up a system of communication online everywhere where lying is the normal mode of conversation. So that makes it very difficult for us to do our work. That makes it very difficult for us to even understand truth, as you were saying today, when you spoke, because you just simply told the truth. I mean, you got to think about the lies, but you simply told the truth. Okay. And they honored and they respected that because they knew that they know this individual. They know his power. They know what he did and what he didn't do. They know the kind of person, that he is. And the validation of that from other people, to me, says a lot, because I would suspect that most of those individuals who spoke to you aren't part of the center community. They aren't part of the African center community, but they recognize truth. They recognize that understanding. So that to me is one of the, and it's hard to tell because you got so many lies mixed up with the truth that you can't tell most of the time, in this world. So they've created an environment where trust is a rare commodity. So we can't even build trust because we know. I know that men cheat. So I know that. About all men. So this is something that I'm walking into in this relationship with this guy. I remember, I'm gonna shut up in a minute, but I remember coming to Brooklyn and the conversation was about complementarity. And this sister sitting in the front doing a Q&A, we were talking about something, and I said, well, I've never cheated. And she looked at me dead in the face, and I could tell that she believed what she said. She said, all men cheat. So how can you have relationships that work, that are lasting, that are strong, and you come into the situation already assuming that this person is going to cheat, already assuming that this person is going to lie, already assuming that this world of evil is the only thing that everybody participates in.
Crazy. Brother Tad, you had a question or comment before we move on?
No, I think Baba laid it out, talking about the trust, because that's where I was going, earlier, and Baba and Mama cleared that up perfectly. Like he just said, his last point, people come into it already expecting, and I don't think our people understand the power of the subconscious, how that manifests in our behaviors, because body language speaks louder than our words. Absolutely. Rolling of the eyes, the twitching of the mouth, just a heavy breath, just talking to somebody. That's just a lot. So you can establish something, and people already got this distrust. So what are we really building if we don't trust one another?
No foundation.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a quick comment on what you were talking about in your topic, Tad, about identification. Within Black, whatever, I don't even know what to call it these days. This community or lack of a community. I like how Baba calls it centered. African centered or centered. Because that, I feel like in this day and age, it differentiates all of the subsections. Because you have some people that think it's okay to do certain things underneath the Pan-African flag or whatever you want to call it, Black Lives Matter, whatever we call it, what we doing nowadays, our liberation fight. I even have some people that I've come across that have been initiated into IFA that are not even homosexual, not even heterosexual people, like lesbians. Lesbians are being initiated into IFA these days, and
it's not limited to that African spiritual tradition either. They're in others, unfortunately. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and even like with the surgence of all of these young people with tarot cards and like sage and crystals, all of these things like that. It's like anybody that buys a singing bowl now thinks they can do healing work. All these people that do that don't have elders. They weren't initiated into it. They have no guidance. They have no wisdom with it. They just like, you could buy a How to Do Healing for Dummies book and go out and try to do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's just something that I'm seeing a lot. So when Ty said, how do you identify it? For me, like you said, it's the work, but it's also the character. Because then on the flip side, I've also come across people in this movement that literally do work, and all they do is work, like Mama Ya said, but then they don't have their priorities together. You know, they don't know how to differentiate what the real work is, you know, when it comes to your family, your nation building, your community. They can't communicate with nobody in their community or their family, but they go to a lecture or something like that, and they write at home, and all they doing is work. You can't even have a decent conversation. That's why I appreciate when we met you guys. Sometimes we talk and we just kick it and we just talk about life. You know, we don't even, every word doesn't have to be a Black Power phrase, because everything that we emanate from inside of us is Black Power. But some of these people, they got to use the keywords, the trigger words all the time. And it's like, man, we can't even just have a normal conversation as Africans, as human beings. You know, so it's very hard trying to navigate out here. But this is why we have you, both of you, on our platform, and we honor you. And anything you need, you definitely got us here. If I know some people, they've been asking me about the shirts all day. So are y'all still making these shirts?
They're basically gone.
They're basically gone. They have to buy the book or get a picture of you.
Well, y'all could go to the Kabuka. They said November is coming back. So if y'all want to get some more information on that, please make sure y'all follow. We will share the link on the bottom of the screen, Akaben House. Please follow, support, and everything like that. Keith, you got your grandson in the building. We got a little...
he tipped in.
Nation building work.
He looks like he's working. He's in the right space.
But I want to say something real quick to Baba before you know, because our time is winding down, right? But you said you was working with brothers in prison, and I want to tell you the influence you had on a very influential brother here in Brooklyn. It's my brother C Gutter. He was definitely shout out to C Gutter. He's a gang member, a former gang member. He's a little older, right? And he ran with the Notorious Biggie and Little Kim and all of them. Okay. And when he came home from jail, we reconnected because we all grew up together. And he talked about your influence on him. Wow. I really want to get y'all to talk, but he said he read many of your books because he's African-centered as well. And all of these years of us growing up in the streets, you know, growing up in Bed-Stuy in the streets, I never knew this. But he talked about the impact of your book and your books, particularly Iwa, and how that really helped move him to the next level. Because his father already planted the seeds. You know, he comes from an African-centered family. But, you know, growing up in the streets, you pretty much trying to navigate your way to fit in. And he's a bona fide warrior through and through. But I just wanted to give you that notice of how much you mean to that brother and the powerful impact you left on him. Because he and I now have a podcast called the OG Wisdom Podcast, where we, you know, we're revered in our streets as OGs. You know, we done put in our time in the streets, but people see what we're about, you know, and our purpose and mission is to influence the young people, you know, and get them to have a paradigm shift, you know, because I always say that energy that our young people have, we don't need to crush it. We need to redirect it, because those are our warriors. But you are revered as the general, Baba. So I just want you to know that your work is not unnoticed and it's making a powerful impact with the ripple effect through the community.
All right. Well, that just made my whole July.
Shout out to C Gutter too. C Gutter. What?
Absolutely. I have to get up to New York at some point in time so I can start meeting people.
Yes, indeed, Baba.
But you know, Black History Month, Black Music Month, Sister Keisha. We can't close it out.
That's what I was about to ask them. What are their favorite
Yes, there you
What are some
That's
of
why
your
you my
favorite
sister.
songs and why?
My sister.
Oh wow. I almost want to say I have too many to count. What immediately comes to mind for me is a discussion I was having with a student. I made him listen to it. I made him listen to essentially the whole album, and it goes back a little bit. But Curtis Mayfield's New World Order.
Okay.
And that because Curtis Mayfield, he's when you go back into my generation, he was, well, I say Stevie Wonder and him were like neck to neck. But Stevie Wonder was just a teeny bit lower than him on that pole. Curtis Mayfield, who was the one who consistently brought consciousness raising music. You had groups like, the OJs, they came out with Ship Ahoy, and you had another group, they came out with something. But Curtis Mayfield, he was consistent over time. And when he came out with the New World Order before he transitioned, when he came out with the New World Order, I'm sitting there listening to it. There's a cut on there about here, but I'm gone. If you've ever been dealing with drugs and moved away from drugs, been able to move away from drugs, when you listen to that song, he's talking to you. He's making you understand. I understand the battle that you went through. So I guess for me, it's pretty much that. Should tell you, music is my life. Music kept me sane in the military. Music, if I don't have music every day, then something is wrong in my life.
Very.
But that you go Isley Brothers, Climbing Up the Ladder, Voyage to Atlanta, all of those songs motivated me to work and to rise. But Curtis Mayfield on this New World Order, and the cut's called New World Order. He brings it straightforward, and they're like African insurrection music that I love, but I'm an old guy. So it's like, for me, somebody like Curtis Mayfield, who has done this for so long and done this so consistently and did this when I needed it. That is my favorite warrior song. And we go into love songs. That's another area. That's another category.
Wow. If you all can hear that thunder.
That's all right. I'm comfortable with it.
You made me forget the name of, but some of my favorite songs. Sam Cooke. Change is Gonna Come. Donny Hathaway's. Which
one? Not the Ghetto.
No.
We love Donnie.
Yeah.
I was about to write it and you went on and on. Okay, but anyway.
My bad.
But Angie Stone it's not even a song. It's an interlude called Freedom.
I was going to say Black Diamonds and Blue
I heard
Girls.
that.
No,
I'm talking. How I remember I fell in love with it.
I remember that.
It's this little interlude. It's not a whole song. It's Freedom. It is so beautiful. And I can't think of
it is very nice.
But it's one of Donnie's socially conscious. It's not the Ghetto.
Is it Be Real Black?
People covered it. What is it?
Is it Be Real Black for Me?
No, it's something more in the line with Sam Cooke's.
Someday we'll all be free.
Change is gonna come. Someday we'll all be free. There it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So there's a I could sit down if you gave me a week, I'd have pages and pages and pages, of music that kept me alive, and that literally kept me alive.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because as we talked about C Gutter and Biggie, that unfortunately Biggie was murdered because he's a childhood friend of mine. But that's what really kept him alive for as long as it did, and help him get other brothers out the streets and help keep them alive. And that's why every week this month we celebrated Black Music Month, because music has been so instrumental in our development. It's been a soundtrack for our struggle. It's been the motivation for us to move our folks to the next level. It's our expression. It's just that thing. The way we walk is rhythmic. We're just music in itself. We're music personified. And I think that's why music is so instrumental to us. We love all our music, whether gospel, hip hop, jazz, R&B, soul, neo soul. Yeah. Now, did we lose them?
My last thing. Oh, did they froze? Yeah, maybe Sean took them out.
Yeah.
Sean goes time for a break.
They ain't want the Bobby in here. But I'm glad they talked about that because that you mentioned that, brother Tab, because music is the soundtrack of Black life.
Yeah.
Like you said, everything we do is rhythmic.
Yeah.
And if I always said, if there's one thing, if Black folks were given one thing that they could control 100%, it would be music, because it is the number one export in the world. And so you definitely got to have that Black music. Um, Uncle Jesse, I know you listening. Don't forget to send me Uncle Buddy's soundtrack. I got to add that to my bike ride music.
Oh, okay.
But here he goes, Stevie Wonder, Frontline.
You heard Baba
Yeah, I
says
like Frontline. I like that.
Baba says Stevie too.
I know.
I heard him say it.
I ain't want to say nothing. I'm gonna leave Sister Keisha alone.
Here we go. You're trying to ruin my night. Now, I'm just saying. I like Stevie Wonder. Certain things. Too much of it. It's just his whole. I can't explain it. I just can't. It's certain people that. Is another person that I feel the same way about, but if I say it, most people will probably hang me.
Yeah,
and I have a reason for it.
Who?
Prince.
Say it. You gotta say it now.
Prince.
Oh, that's understandable.
Yeah, I never was a huge Prince fan. I like some of his music, but yeah.
Prince and Sade.
Oh, all right, now we gotta disagree again.
Yeah, you wildin' now.
We love Sade.
Hell yeah.
I can't tell. Yeah, I told you the first time I met Rowan, he wanted to take me to a Sade concert. This is not going anywhere, bro. If you bring that up again, it's not going up. He's like, you don't like Sade? No. I don't know. It's something about her rhythmic. I don't know. It makes me want to commit suicide. Like, I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? It just gives me a headache. But anyway, shout out to her. She got some cuts. It's just not, my favorites. Sister Farnessa says she didn't care too much for Prince either. Yeah, to me, he's overrated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, stop playing, y'all. Here, everybody throwing it in now. Brother P said, James Brown, say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. You got that right.
Right.
You got that right. James Brown, most sampled man on the planet.
That's right. Especially. And what's crazy?
Oh, here go Brother Oba. Now, see, we was friends, Brother Oba.
Not
anymore.
Sister Sade, I do. But what's crazy? Because Big Daddy Kane's song, Young, Gifted, and Black, was his diss record to James Brown. Word. And that was a diss record to James Brown.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, check out he said, we sample beats, you sue and try to fight us, man, you be home with arthritis. If we wouldn't strive and bring back live old beats that we appreciated, you wouldn't survive. Remember he had a song called I'm Real, right? Remember he had a song, I'm Real. Remember Big Daddy Kane Cadence, I still get ill and kill at will to build a skill to fill your grill, so don't tell me you real. That's Big Daddy Kane was talking about James Brown.
And that was his extradition out of hip hop, pretty much.
Who that? Big Daddy Kane?
Yeah. After that, his career was trash.
Move after that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then he dropped that Prince of Darkness trash, and and that's when he lost the whole community. Yeah,
he fell all the way off.
Yeah, he fell all the way off. And with Madonna and them Playboy pictures, we was like, all right.
I was about to say that.
You're doing too much, bro.
Listen, and before we go out, because we're on music right now, you just had the Black Embarrassment Television Awards.
With Little Gimp?
I haven't seen it.
Even before her, and I have to say this, a bunch of talentless mofos. I mean what I say. I mean what I say. It has nothing to do with the genre. Had nothing to do with that. Total talentless folks. Talentless. And I don't care what nobody say.
And you know what else?
Nobody say. And I will debate anybody. Bring me your best from that show and I will destroy you.
And you know what else it is too, sis? For me, the degradation of our sisters. It's almost like black women no longer personify class and elegance. It's like they really put the spotlight on the bottom of the barrel, the street culture. See me, I'm still old school, so women walk on the inside, right? When they walk with me. And why is that? Because I was told that street walkers walk near the curb. Street walkers is the old school slang for prostitutes and hoes. They walk near the curb. Women of respect walk on the inside. That's it. You protect them. You keep them on the inside. If she walking by the curb, she a street walker. That's it. But now it's almost like so many people are identifying with this street culture, with the lowest of society. Even checking out the clips of last week's verses. You know, when I look at these R&B singers act like they're thugs and tough guys, I'm like, come on, dude, you a crooner. Why does all of our people have to be gangsters and tough guys? Like, I mean, that's a rhetorical question because we know who control the images and the purse strings to pay these people to act like this. So it's rhetorical because we have to make sure our young people don't buy into these negative stereotypes that's been around for hundreds of years, where Europeans justify their treatment amongst us. Rape her. Don't listen to her cries. She enjoys it. But now how do our women come out on stage in public? You know, he's a threat to society. If he gets the chance, he's going to kill us. So we have to establish law and order. What do our young brothers do? Run around like they're criminals and they're lawless. And not saying you got to kowtow to the Europeans, but walk with a level of dignity. Have a level of respect for one another. It's all right with friendly competition, but everything don't have to be so aggressive. Because I'm looking at the R&B dudes up in each other's face talking crazy. And I'm like, wow, who's regular anymore? Who even love us anymore? Like, we don't show each
other. It's all right. Certain things on television, we don't promote here. This is just how it is. There is a series that I would like you all to check out if you can, if you have the accessibility to do it. And shout out to King Simon. I think he posted a clip of it earlier this week or whatever.
Salute to our brother.
Yeah. Actually, the series is called The Man Who Fell to Earth. You saw on Showtime. It's about a black man from another planet sent here, allegedly, by a white man to come up with a power source so that we will be free of oil, right? And other technological advances. Now, when he gets here, he searches for a black woman who is gifted in her field of physics and things of that nature. He finds her and they, work together. But this series, and they're on the run from the CIA and all other kind of stuff because they know he's alien life form, so they want to capture him or what have you. But in this series, they show how a black man and a black woman, no matter where they're from, must rely on each other for survival. In this series, they break down the history of black music and how powerful it is. Here is this being who is from another planet, connects with a black woman born here. He has no conception of what music is to us here. It's not the same. There are no rhythmic melodies to the music that he was listening to on the planet that he came from. However, because of the relationship between the family that he was connected with here and the sister he was working with here, their love of music, and how they used music as a way to connect the family, he began to grow closer to it and that family. So then he makes a call to his wife, who, to on another planet, and he's letting her know, because again, the reason why he's here is because blacks on his beings are dying. And if we don't figure out why they're dying there, the same trajectory is happening on Earth. This series is like nothing I've ever seen before. I don't know what the next season is going to be about, but this season, you get to see the dynamic relationship. There is no sexual relationship now. Again, he has a wife and children on the planet where he come from, but he's falling in love with the African American way of life through music. And he's losing more memory of where he came from.
Wow.
Having a
What's the name of it
stronger,
again,
heartfelt connection with the family here is called The Man Who Fell to Earth. It's on Showtime. The Man Who Fell to Earth. Both of the actors are British. They're British actors. You can't tell from watching this movie. But it is so profound. And I think a lot of people are starting to catch on to it and catch on to the message, because also in this now, you see the manipulation of Urugu and how these two working together destroy Urugu. It's crazy. You got to see it. So again, in your own time, family, check it out. It's sci-fi, of course, but check it out. And then let me know what you think about it. Let me know your feelings on it. And especially the connection of music, black music. And Sam Cooke was one of their favorites. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to check that out. I didn't even hear about it. But we got to notice one thing. And Tad had mentioned it early in the show about how even though it don't look like it, we're still winning. And like how we went from movies like 12 Years a Slave and 42 and, all the movies where, it shows our suffering, and then, you win some regular outcome at the end of it, to say that black people ain't got it as bad as the movies and media make it. But the point I'm making when I say that is that's a very important point you made, in that the media is slowly shifting to movies like Black Panther and those kind of movies where we are victorious, and a lot of us don't notice it because the media is distracting us from all that. So what they're distracting us from with all of the lately tactics is the fact that they're pretty much, the cabal as we know it is pretty much over, and everything right now is just a distraction because they know we're going to inherit the earth. That's it.
And that's what we was discussing earlier. That's what Roe v. Wade is about. They need their military, as Dr. Khalid called the women, the military manufacturing machine.
Yes, sir.
They said, y'all not going to kill no more of our future race soldiers. And we got to understand the implications it was for us to terminate pregnancy and all that stuff. It's multi-layered, and, we can discuss that on another show.
Check this out. And as you watch that series, there is a scene, I don't know which episode it is, but there is a scene where the father of the black woman he found is going through dementia. He's dying. And he loses his life. But the brother from the other planet pours himself into him. As the episodes go on, he becomes more Antion as opposed to human. And so he can see and dissect things in a way that humans cannot. And he has the ability to see both worlds and what is to come. You guys got to check it out. Now, I don't know what the next season is going to be about, but I know this season was something. And the trickery, the manipulation of Urugu behind the scene, trying to manipulate this brother. You understand? And then things come to light. eventually as you get to. I mean, the series is, I think it's done, or there may be one episode left, but I guess you guys can watch, from the first one, and I guarantee you're gonna see some things that we have been talking about, our elders have been talking about, Brother Blacksmith have been talking about, as far as us inheriting the earth and all of that. You got to see this series. Check it out. On our Instagram page, I'm going to try to post some clips. But in your spare time, family, check that out. We're about to close out for the night. My brothers, your final thoughts and comments. Oh, yes. Brother Baruti sent me a text message. Their power did go out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, family, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm glad our brother Blacksmith could make it, even though it was, tail end. It's always a pleasure to have the brother bless us with his presence. So, as you can see, there's a lot of things going on that we need to be mindful. Hopefully you share this video with your family, friends, and loved ones, run it back, critique some of the talking points we made, do a lot of research on the resources that Sister Keisha provided in terms of the Miranda rights and in terms of Roe v. Wade and all the other things that's coming down the line for this new America that we are now a part of. I mean, it may seem strange, but this is the new world order that we're moving into. Started with COVID. None of it is a joke. Look into in terms of insurance, paying people out if you die because of the jab. These things are very important, very critical that we really need to know. So hopefully you inspired. Thank our guests, Mama Ya and Baba Baruti, for coming through, lending their expertise, their wisdom, their knowledge, and just their time. They're very busy people, and I'm just grateful they took the time out to bless us with their presence. I don't think we've seen them in about 4 years. It's been, right? 2018, something like that. We all were together. Yeah, and then 2020 comes, the shutdown, the lockdown. So we definitely thank our elders for blessing us. They're real solid people. So hopefully you were inspired by some things you heard tonight. So it's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true, and remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead.
Yeah. Yo, Tad, what you were saying about, the new world and the future and things of that nature, it's a really good docu-series that just came out on Netflix. If you guys get a chance to listen to the audience, if y'all get a chance, check this docu-series out. It's called The Future of Life After Death. It's on Netflix. The whole thing is about technology, right? And right now, technology is moving rapidly. It's so advanced and things of that nature. Every day is something changing, right? Well, this thing, they talk about, like, the first episode, at least, they talk about, like, death. And they talk about, how cemeteries in the future and things of that nature. It might be, like, cemeteries that are digital, virtual cemeteries, and what they're talking specifically about is this thing that you see all over social media, which is really called deep fake. I know our brother Blacksmith probably knows what it is, but deep fake is, you see, like, you can change a filter and put a filter on your face and it'll change your whole face to look like Tad's face or Keisha's face, but it's on your body. And then you could talk and move and all of that. I know Kendrick Lamar had deep fake in his music video, one of his new recent music videos, where he transformed into Jussie Smollett and Kobe Bryant and so many other. They slowly but surely, dripping these things into entertainment and things of that nature. But it's real things. And what happens when they start taking, our faces and representing people, especially after you die, representing them with things that they don't represent. You know what I'm saying? Or even worse, just faking, whole stories about people when it's really not this person. It's a lot of things that's happening with technology right now. And we know that if they showing us this now, then it's way advanced. They showing us stuff that they have for decades already. You know what I'm saying? So with this new world order Ty is talking about, it's a real thing. And this technology, a lot of us, we watched Back to the Future and we saw flying cars and we like, yo, that's crazy. It's far-fetched. But the technology in the near future, not even the the far future. The near future is gonna be insane, family, and we just gotta make sure, like Baba and Mama y'all said tonight, we make sure that we are centered people and don't get caught up in this, because right now it's the technology is for people with ADHD. You know what I'm saying? Instant, like he said earlier, instant gratification, and what it's doing is dumbing us down. It's making us real stupid, and we're not using all of our African traits and you know, all of the skills that we actually have to develop ourselves into better people. So with that being said, please make sure y'all go back, watch the documentary, go back and listen to this, because I feel like Baba and Mama was really talking scripture, especially when they start to get the rolling and he getting a flow. It's like, I heard some Psalms tonight. I remember one of them, he said, that struck me. He said, Baba said, what do you have? Do you have influence or do you have power? That's very profound to me. And then I had this peel of layers, like Tad said, like, wow, like a lot of these fake leaders that we were talking about, right, Tad?
Yeah.
They have influence.
Dudes you be running down on.
But they don't have power. They could get all the ones I want them. Yeah. They could get in front of people and say something and make you feel away. But power is the actual work. Power is the tangible results that you have. That is what real power is, family. So let's not, confuse influence and give up our power for some influence, instant gratification, So like I said, go rewatch this video. You can watch it immediately after we end this show. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe, DM, send it to a friend. It's your brother Ashe SJ signing out. Always remember, true courage is knowing how to suffer. And the battlefield is where you stand. Brother Black, you want to say something to close out?
Yes, sir. Real quick, y'all. I'm not gonna keep y'all long. I know the show's closing out. Thank y'all for another opportunity to talk to the people. I just got two things mainly, and then I'm gonna give it back to Keisha. The show you were talking about, Sister Keisha, reminds me of a movie called Children of Men. Now, it ain't the same type of topic or whatever, but it's a very crucial movie that a lot of y'all should watch out there. It has a lot to do with everything that's going on right now. So with that said, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, I'm going to go out on a limb with some of the things I'm saying. It might sound crazy. It might sound logical. It might sound whatever it is. But July 4th is 7 plus 4, which is 11, plus 2, which is 2022, which is with the year we're in right now. So 7 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 17. And that's July 4th this year, which is Independence Day. And that 17, which stands for Q, the letter Q that the MAGA people use. I believe something's going to happen this weekend. It might be coincided through the galactics for that solar flash to happen. It's going to happen soon. And with that said, as far as Black Music Month is concerned, my book is an expose on the entertainment industry. You can find that at www.lulu.com. And the name of the book is Boom Bye Bye, Hip Hop Will Never Die. I expose the entertainment industry with a focus on hip hop. I'm Flavius Jones on Facebook. If you want, hit me up, friend me, whatever. Let's get it. FLAVEUS Jones. And I love y'all. Peace and respect. And see y'all next month. Keisha, you got it.
Thank you, Kings. Definitely appreciate the Barutis coming in and sharing their wisdom and guidance with us. As my brother Ashe SJ said, please go back and check it out. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, family. Check out OG Wisdom Podcast on your favorite streaming platforms. You can also check them out on YouTube. Please follow Solid African on YouTube and on Instagram. And of course, you can follow me, K Fighter, on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm going to get back into my skits because I'm going to be saying some things and I don't want to get Tad and Ashe and Black in trouble. So I'm going to stand on my stand and take that beating.
Hey, Keisha, if you say it, I'm backing it. I don't care what you say.
Thank you, because I'm going in on Eric Adams. You about to get this.
I ain't backing no Stevie Wonder disses. No way.
Here he go. Here he go. I'm going in on Eric Adams. As a matter of fact, see, I'm not the one to play with. I am a research goddess. When I'm telling you, when I will dig in your tail, I will dig in your tail. I found transcripts of this mother effer's pledges to other groups and what he planning on doing. Do I not, brothers? Did I not send it?
Not Keisha saying MF.
I'm not playing with you. So I'm going in next week. So I'm trying to be nice.
Keisha, you saw the picture of him at the parade too?
You should see his Twitter feed. Shout
You
out to
shouldn't.
Dr. Ia Ajua. I gotta give her some love because when I'm in these Twitter spaces, man, in these rooms, she be right there. You know what I'm saying? Because Brother Tad is gonna go for about this second. Then he gonna rock Tad the wrong way. He gonna be out. So Dr. Ia Ajua, she been in there hanging tough. And there's some things that we gonna show next week. Next week we have a guest too, Brother Akil, mathematician, teacher, Morehouse graduate. He will be on the check-in with us next week. We gonna
You talking about from niggas to gotta kill?
Huh?
You talking about from niggas to gotta kill?
Like I said, tune in next week.
Wow. That book saved my life.
Not that book, trust me. This is a different Akil.
Damn.
But anyway, he gonna touch on some things. Trust me. He got a YouTube page actually where he teaches mathematics.
Okay.
For those of you who have children who are struggling in this field, again, we're gonna get the brother be on next week with us, and we're gonna break down some things mathematically that I don't think you guys are pretty much aware of. Maybe you are. I'm just probably the slow one in the building. That's all right too. But again,
I don't know this new math.
Me either, Chad. Me either, bro. Me either. But you know, y'all hold your head and stay strong. Stay focused. Stay aware because a lot of things are happening, especially this holiday weekend or holiday weekend. Please watch your front, your back, and your side. You never know what's going to happen. These people are out here reckless, and I want you all to be safe. And I want to see you all again black next week, right here on the Brooklyn Bridge where we do it. Good night, y'all. We out.
Peace.